The Bible teaches us about the importance of peace and how we can work to promote it along with justice, forgiveness, and reconciliation. As followers of Christ, we are expected to stand up for justice and peace, following Jesus' example of bringing life to others. There are no tricky words in this verse, no difficult Greek to parse. To be blessed means to be happy or to experience God's favour. To be a peacemaker is to make peace. We show ourselves to be His children when we seek to make peace in the workplace, in the community, in our homes, in the whole world. James chapter 3 verse 18 has an interesting take on the challenge of peacemaking. It's worth noticing what he did say and what he didn't say. He could have said, "Peacemakers reap a harvest of righteousness," but he didn't. Important words are missing from that short sentence. It's not just peacemakers, but peacemakers who sow in peace, who reap a God-pleasing harvest. In those few additional words, James makes it clear that the way we go about the work of peacemaking matters. Our thoughts matter. Our methods matter. Our attitude matters. Peacemakers who reap a harvest of righteousness are those who sow in peace. In this passage, James has been describing the difference between worldly wisdom and godly wisdom. Worldly wisdom encourages us to be selfish and greedy, and to put our own interests before the need of others. Godly wisdom, on the other hand, leads to peace, mercy, and sincerity. James concludes his thought from the previous verse with a beautiful word picture. Imagine fields full and ready to harvest. The crop of this field is righteousness, goodness, and everything those who belong to God would hope to see in the world. The crop was planted by those who make peace. James elevates the role of peacemakers, ones committed to living peacefully in full confidence that God is providing for them. That's the result of living by heaven's wisdom. Valerie was born on the 6th of June 1975, but she says the genocide of 1994 and the horror she experienced at that time left her looking much older, and many people mistake her for her daughter's grandmother. Valerie is mother to 3 children, a 27-year-old son, a 16-year-old daughter, and a 15-year-old son who sadly passed away during the COVID-19 pandemic. Valerie is part of the Good News International community of Masaka, but her story starts far from Kigali, the capital of Rwanda. It began in the southwestern village of Kibeho, where she lived with her parents and 5 siblings. In 1994, when Valerie was 19 years old, the genocide against the Tutsis in the most horrifying period of her life began. When the massacre started, she fled with her family, but was separated from her mother from the beginning, leaving her with her father, brothers and sisters. Thinking it safe to return to the village, they did so, but Valerie recalls the awful day the killers came to her home.
My father told me to run away. I ran and climbed up an avocado tree. While I was at the top of the avocado tree, I watched the killers come and kill my father, just at the bottom of the tree. After they killed him, they left, so I came down and I just started running away. During the night, I went to hide in a home which belonged to one of the killers, but I had no idea. He caught me and he called other killers to come, and they started raping me. Every day I was raped by different men. They held me as a captive for the rest of the genocide. They raped me every day, different men. I don't even remember how many men raped me.
When the RPF soldiers came to liberate the area, Valerie managed to escape with a large crowd of people. She found a soldier that she knew and told him everything. He was able to bring her to Kigali to a military camp where she could receive treatment for her extensive illness and injuries following her ordeal. Along with many others, she was then moved to an orphanage for accommodation where she met her future husband. Once they decided to get married, they left to go to Masaka, where Valerie lives today. Valerie lived together with her husband until 2008, when their 3rd child was born. A year that brought the joy of new birth also brought the tragedy of death. In that same year, her husband passed away. She said at that point life became very difficult again, and she was just weeping every day. She could do nothing but weep. Apart from losing her husband, she was also living in a very old, dilapidated house that felt like it would fall down around her at any minute, She spoke to the community president, who told her she had to meet Comfort International's partner, Good News International. He encouraged her to join the community in Masaka and get her happiness back. He introduced her to Ben and Clement from Good News International, who have become close friends, and she always remembers what they said to her. If you are ready to live, God will give you life again. Here, she was able to start sharing her story and allow healing into her heart.
At that time, I had no hope for my life. But after I joined Good News, I found happiness and my hope returned. I was so happy to be part of the Good News community.
Good News International were able to give Valerie a goat, which turned out to be a blessing in her life. The goat started giving birth, and she could sell the kids to pay school fees for her daughter to go to school. The goat was given to her when a Comfort International group from Arbroath High School visited the community in 2017, and Valerie still has her trusty caprine to this day. Every year she produces kids, as well as manure for crops.
During the genocide, all my emotions were expressed through tears. It was tears every day. After the genocide, my emotions were characterised by hate because of what people did to me. I just hated people, and I had hate in my heart. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I always wanted to be on my own and stay in the house and never talk to anybody. I felt I didn't have anyone to trust to tell my story until I joined Good News. That's when I could meet people and be open, and that's when I started to share my story. Of course, in the beginning, I didn't share everything, just little by little, because I thought in the beginning, if I shared my story, they would laugh at me and not be able to do anything for me. But as people from Good News started coming to me and talking to me and sharing a word of comfort with me, I was able to open up and share my story.
Valerie still has challenges in her life today. She mourns the death of her young son and wonders at the mysterious cause of his death. She misses her husband and fights to raise her other children on her own, making sure her daughter still gets a good education. She talks about forgiveness and the freedom that comes from that. She says she no longer has hate in her heart, but still has to deal with the consequences of her ordeal. She says sometimes the memories come back and overwhelm her, but she doesn't feel hate. She says,
God is so good. I thought I would die, but He rescued me. Of course, I know God is in control. I just try to keep my peace.
Comfort International are working with many other countries where people to this day live in daily fear of their lives and are living with the consequences of war and poverty. They are in desperate need of peacemakers. This harvest, you can be a peacemaker. Please pray for the work of Comfort International, support the work if you can, and ask God to use you in your daily life to sow peace and reap righteousness.